right, guys, you ready for a master storyteller to tell an epic story on a galactic scale for one of the coolest teams ever? Well, you came to the right channel, or the right video. This is Avengers by Jonathan Hickman, Volume 1, which, I just read this, so it's fresh in my mind, and I have to admit, it's probably one of the farthest reaching Avengers stories of all, and I'm super impressed with it. I am super impressed with it. Jonathan Hickman is a master storyteller, and he weaves a web that is impressive, not only in the scale, but in the consistency of it. So we're going to take a look at it. Let me go ahead and show you this first. So this one is the standard. There's the front. This is the spine. And the back. Now this is a reprint of it. I know it was, taken out on an Omniform a couple of years ago. And so people have been waiting for this reprint for a while, because I remember in the Whatnot we had the Hickman Avengers. People always wanted that one as well.
Yeah, just pointing out the spine.
Yes. Yes, so the standard has the blue spine. Yep. Yeah, and then the DM has the black spine. Hopefully they will take it out for the Volume 2 to match with it, with whatever you got, but just letting you know that. And then people were also asking about the actual, I guess whenever you open it, the gluing on it. So there you go, as you can see. It looks... What do you think, JP?
I mean, it looks fine. It looks solid.
Yeah? Let me open to the middle. Let's check out all the different angles. So whenever you open it, let's say the farther pages. There you go. So there you know I'm manhandling it, so now you know. All right, so let's take a look underneath. I showed you the spine already?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
We talked about the colors.
Yes, we did. Okay. So there's the big giant A, of course, for Avengers, and then blank, blank. Very cool. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. Now this is going to be it's not really a first look since the Omni already came out, so it's kind of like a overview, but I'm going to be quick about it and just tell you my thoughts on it. So let's go ahead and jump in. All right, so Jonathan Hickman definitely writes arguably one of the best storylines for the Avengers in in modern times. And he did the Fantastic Four. He has other great titles under his belt. So before that, let me tell you what's included in this one. This one includes Avengers from 2012, number 1 through 23. It also includes Free Comic Book Day 2013 Infinity number 1, Infinity number 1 through 6, which is the event that happened there, Infinity Against the Tide, Infinite Comic number 1 and 2, Astonishing Tales, Mojo World number 1 through 6, and materials from Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu 2009, number 1. And I think New Avengers as well from 2013, number 1 through 12. And I'm just going to show you real quick, just so people who don't want to get spoiled for it can see it real quick. It looks great. Actually, the pages are a little bit thicker than other Omnis that I've seen, and usually they do that for, I guess, more sought after titles. And this one has been, a lot of people have been waiting for that. We already sold out on all of the ones that we had, and I believe we did like 100 of the DM, 100 standard. Oh yeah, 100 standard. 200 standard, 100 DM, and
Standard's out of print now.
Standard is already out of print, so that is crazy. And this one is, like I said, highly been sought after. So we get to see that. Let me show you some of the extras, and the extras actually start from from right here. So this is a huge amount of extras. You got, of course, cover galleries. You have, let's see, some of the cover galleries that you see there, as you can see, and they interconnect. If you have, read it, like all of the Infinity ones, or like for the Infinity event, they all match like the same color scheme, like the blue, the gold, the red, the purple, stuff like that. They all kind of match. So you see the red here, the other ones have it like that. Like it's really cool. I was actually super impressed with how connected and similar they are. So all the yellow ones or the green ones like that, it'll match the other colors that are green as well. So it's really, really cool like that, like this. So they're kind of interconnected. Very, very cool. I thought they did a great job. Jonathan Hickman did a great job of connecting these three stories from the New Avengers, the Avengers, and the Infinity event going on into a very epic story. Now, there are some parts, especially if you haven't read Avengers before, which to me, I haven't. So coming in, there were some parts I'm like, who's this? Like, who are these characters? I had to actually like go back and look it up, like actually go on Wikipedia. Oh, this is this character. Cool. But once it's really just a little bit of of a jump into it before you kind of get in the rhythm of it. I think this is another one of the extras, as you can see. Yeah, definitely these are some of the extra comics that are in there, which is cool. Now I'm not sure if that's included in the first printing, but if you know, let me know. Okay, so basically, just as a quick overview, it starts off with Captain America and Iron Man wanting to build a new team, and they just talk about it how they basically need to get bigger, expand bigger, and you start seeing these characters called the Builders, like this, and they basically are created to either destroy life or created depending on how the species is doing. And these are called Alephs, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And they can destroy all the people on in the worlds they create. And they're sent from builders. I think, the builders are the ones who sent, or the makers, something like that. And so they land on Mars, and the Avengers could head over there to kind of see what's going on. And these guys kind of wipe the floor with them, as you can see. They capture all of them. This is Abyss. This guy his name is something. It's like Neoxilo, something like that. If you know, then you know. And the story I like this very much because it kind of tells you which characters are involved in this. Now it tells you this is like the roster for the Avengers, and it tells you which ones are included in that. So that was actually really cool because you get to see, okay, these characters are in that one. So it tells the story of these guys, and basically the Avengers have to stop them because, the ones that they meet in Mars, they kind of get a truce. They're like, you know what, you'll stay in Mars, don't worry about it. We're going to go ahead and this is Captain Universe, which was a character I didn't know. Like I said, I had to look her up. Basically, she is a personification of the entire universe in a hero, as you can see there. And she basically takes over a broken person who was like in a coma for a while. But she has like the powers of the universe. And these guys kind of like call her mother, so they do see her as a authority figure. And she tells them, you know what, just leave Earth alone, kind of. You can stay here in Mars. You don't have to worry about them. So they basically bow down to her. And whatever she wants, they're like, okay, cool. So she kills this guy, the Alephs, which, I don't know why it attacked her. But, she's like, no. So then they kind of stay on Mars, kind of away. And then at the same time, is this? Yes, I believe so. New Avengers kind of follows. The Avengers definitely follows that aspect of them with the people from Mars, the makers and the builders, and they'll go into that as well. The New Avengers follows the Illuminati. Now, if you remember the Illuminati, they're basically the group that made a secret society to not to rule the government or the world, but to kind of just lead the world as superheroes. So it had only the leader. So it had Professor X. It had Reed Richards, Namor. It had who else did it have? Let me see. Black Panther. Yeah, the Illuminati. And it usually will tell you at the beginning who's... Okay, there we go. Black Bolt, Namor, Reed Richards, Iron Man, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and then Professor X, who at this point was deceased. I don't know what happened to that. I didn't really look into it. Kind of want to read it beforehand to find out. So they kind of disbanded for a while, but they rejoined due to this event that's going on. So basically, this girl comes in from another universe, and she is part of what is called an incursion, and it's basically another universe coming in that is... Okay, so they explained it right here really well, and it kind of gives you a graph. So basically, there's a multiverse with infinite Earths, right? Well, sometimes there's events that happen that causes the Earth or two universes to get close to each other, as you can see there. And basically, if one of the Earths doesn't get destroyed, so basically, let's say this is Earth 1 and Earth 2, they kind of there's an incursion that happens that both of them get close to each other. And if one of the other two Earths, basically they get close to each other, if one of if either one of the Earths don't get destroyed, then basically they hit each other, and that whole universe is both universes are gone. Boom. So either both of the universes get destroyed, or one of the Earths get destroyed, and both universes survive. So you kind of get it. So if an incursion is happening in this Earth, they have to destroy the other Earth, or if not, both universes die. So it's like, bro, you're backed up in a corner. How are you going to do it? So you either destroy both. Either both universes destroy, or you kill one and you save both universes, basically. So the Illuminati gather because they can't show people that, because it's gonna just make them go crazy. So they're like, you know what? We have the Infinity Gems. Well, let's get together and make the Infinity Gauntlet and try to stop the incursions. So they go looking for their Infinity Gems, as you can see here. That's a little bit of it, and it happens. They go towards it. And they tell Captain America for him to use the Infinity Gauntlet, since he's basically like the most righteous of all of them. And he uses it, but it pushes it away, but it doesn't fully stop it. And basically the Infinity Gauntlet gets destroyed, as you can see there. It bought them some time, but it tells you like they got shattered, or then they disappeared. So they're like, oh, you know what? That didn't work. Even with the best of us, we have to basically destroy this planet. Like they thought they could just push it away with the Infinity Gauntlet and just let the Earth survive. But even with the Infinity Gauntlet, they weren't able to do that. So they're like we have no choice. We have to destroy this other Earth. And Captain America's like, no, I'm not gonna allow you to do that. They wipe his mind basically, and they tell him, sorry, bro, you're out of the Illuminati. You won't even remember this. Dang, so he's gone. Okay, so basically after that, you also see the story of, what's his face? I believe his name is, not Havoc, no, his name is Hyperion, yes. So it kind of gives you the information of Hyperion, how he was pulled from another universe, and how he became an Avenger, which is really cool. He becomes best buds with Thor, which I thought was really funny, because they're both like, he's like basically like a version of Superman. He gets power from the sun. And it gives you information on other characters, like this girl, I think her name is Slammer, Charger, Smasher, and yeah, I would smash her. Anyway, so it gives you information on these other heroes that you wouldn't know about, which is really cool, because it's definitely building up to a galactic fight that's going on. And they also happen to introduce the Star Brand character, as well as Adam, which is like the perfect being created by those people from Mars. Anyway, that leads to, they have another incursion. They go in there, and it looks like Galactus is destroying that Earth. So they basically try to stop him, and even though they fight this guy who's his herald, in the end, they kind of let it happen, because it kind of takes the blame away from them. Galactus is going to destroy that Earth anyway, so if that happens, then their Earth is saved. So the Illuminati is facing these other incursions where they have to decide what's going on, and they kind of are hiding this from all the rest of the Avengers. Iron Man is the only one who's kind of on both sides in the regular Avengers and the new Avengers, or the Illuminati, and he doesn't want to tell them what's going on. They bring Beast in because he had the gem from Professor X, and he is able to kind of bring another aspect to the Illuminati. And this girl is a Black Swan, and she's like, again, she kind of comes from another universe, and she kind of tells them all this information that's happening. So she's their prisoner, but she's also helping them. But she's not really good, and she's not really bad. And then she tells them about the map makers, which are another type of incursion. And I'm kind of moving real quickly, guys. But basically, the Avengers follows the Avengers having to deal with the fact that the makers and the builders and all that are destroying the intergalactic community and making a way towards the Earth, and they want to destroy it. So they have to basically join up with an intergalactic council to try to stop them. And so the Avengers are dealing with that. The Illuminati are dealing with the incursions, and there's also like fights between Namor and Black Panther, because Black Atlantis, or Namor's people, are attacking Wakanda. So like the countries are attacking each other, but these two guys have to work together to save kind of like the universe. So it's kind of very turmoil in that aspect, and there's a lot of inner fighting between that. So that's really cool. I kind of like how that's definitely going to play later on, as you can kind of tell about that. And then you have, of course, like the Avengers, everything that's going on with the Avengers, and they're out in space. So like, for example, these guys, it tells you how they created stuff. They basically sent seeds to planets for those things to evolve. So they have to deal with that first, and then eventually after they deal with that, that's where they go off into space to fight this galactic war. And that kind of the first part is them dealing with the seeds that were sent in by these guys to evolve the human race, or the creatures from the human race further up. And then it leads into the intergalactic part. So there you see it. It's basically those seeds send a signal to these guys that they have to come to Earth. All right, so we're kind of moving forward fast. Just them dealing with the seeds first, and then after that is them going up into Earth. So then here we go. So you get to see basically the whole cast of the Infinity event that happens, as well as, yes, so the Infinity event, this kind of leads into that. So the Infinity event happens as well as in between Avengers and New Avengers, so it's really cool. And it kind of, I appreciate it so much because it gives you kind of a refresher of who's what. The Galactic Council, the X-Men, the Builders, all that stuff, the Avengers, and you get to see that, okay. So these guys, this is kind of where it starts off with the Infinity, and while everything's going on, Thanos is looking for something and throughout the cosmos, and he sends these guys to Earth. This is Sword, which is basically the shield's arm that protects the Earth from galactic struggles, and you find out that basically Thanos is looking for his child. So he has kids all over, and he's killing them all. And again, he's looking for his child, and it turns out that the Inhumans have him, which is Black Bolt's jurisdiction. So Thanos decides to attack Earth while the Avengers go off planet to stop the Makers from coming to Earth and destroy them. So like a lot of the big guns from the Avengers leave Earth to do that. So it kind of leaves Earth not defenseless, but definitely without Avengers. He even says it in a certain part, which is kind of crazy. And then he has his little group, which they are called the Black something, the Black Council, the Black something. If you know what I'm talking about. And it's basically Supernova. Yeah, it's the Collapsidian, the Black Order. There we go. So you have Corvus Glaive, you have Proxima Midnight, a Black Dwarf, Supergiant, and the Ebony Maw. So if you saw the Avengers movie, they do take some of these characters from there into that. So the only ones that I believe that isn't on there is the Supergiant. So Corvus Glaive is the guy with the knife, like the big spear kind of thing that's with the girl, Proxima Midnight. And then Supergiant is the big guy that, if you remember, Doctor Strange kind of cuts. This is from Infinity War. He basically cuts off the guy's arm, and then the Ebony Maw is the guy who attacks Doctor Strange, if you remember that. So that basically was ripped off, or not ripped off, but taken straight from this. So that's really cool to see how the comics influence the movies. So basically, they're trying to look for Thanos' son. They're going all over the world. They attack the X-Men. They attack Wakanda. They attack New York. They attack different, cities looking for that. And that the Infinity Event kind of deals with that aspect. But of course, like Captain America, Falcon, Thor, Hyperion, Captain Marvel, Hulk, and some other X-Men are in space fighting this galactic war that's going on, so they're not at Earth to help defend with that. So they have to deal with. It kind of deals with just the Gathering. Here's the Gathering, or the Gauntlet. it's two stories that at the end come together, and they're really good. Like I was super impressed with the whole aspect of, the space battles, and what I really like about it, especially for like the Avengers aspect where they're in space, is the fact that the Avengers actually kind of take a backseat at the beginning. Like they're under the command of the Galactic Council, and so they're just following orders. These makers or the builders are destroying them easily. They can't get a leg up on them, and these guys are just like they capture some of the Avengers after they attack. They're like the Galactic Council is like we're running out because we're just running away because there's nothing we can do against these guys. These guys are great. They have have Annihilus, you have the Scrolls, you have the Shire Empire, you have the Supreme Intelligence. All these guys with their vast empires are nothing. Even the Brood isn't it. All of these guys are nothing compared to the Builders, and they're running scared from them. And it definitely talks about the Annihilation event that happened earlier. So they kind of talk about that. So if you haven't read that, which I haven't, that's really cool that it still kind of comments on it and mentions it. So that's really cool. And so the aspect of the Avengers is just that they're trying to stop these guys from coming. So it definitely deals with Captain America having to kind of take a back seat with the Avengers. And then after everybody's like running for the hills, he kind of takes over, even though he's from a backwater planet called Earth, which in the galactic scale, Earth is just like a third world country almost. But he is able to come up with plans to help them turn the morale, basically, of the planets that were taken over, and doing so, it kind of turns the tide in their favor. And then, of course, you have Black Bolt here fighting Thanos, which was really cool. I thought that was a really cool event. And as you can see here, he kind of like blasts Thanos straight in the face. Now, if Black Bolt, his scream can destroy planets, so that's really cool. And then you have, of course, these guys in space. So it jumps back and forth, but it still kind of interconnects at the end. They are able to, the Avengers, basically the planets that fight back are called Avenger worlds, which is really cool. That's what I meant with the aspect that is very far-reaching galactically, because the Avengers influence or inspire people to become basically Avenger worlds where they fight back against the makers. This one was really cool. Basically, the Kree, are they have already basically surrendered to these guys, and they send the Hulk to kind of supposedly surrender, and then he like throws a hammer, and the guy, like, as you can see, he hits the Hulk. He basically makes him kneel down in front of him, and he's like, "This is your comfortable position. This is how you should be." Blah blah blah. Like he's basically mouth-mouthing, and Thor shot the hammer and it went around their sun, and it comes back and poof, just basically blasts through this guy. And it kind of inspires the worlds to fight back against them, and they turn the tide towards the war. They're able to drive these guys back, and well, it starts too, but then basically Captain Universe, who had been knocked out for a while, she was like in some sort of coma, she just comes back and basically annihilates the rest of these guys. She totally turns the tide, and so then basically these guys are, I guess, self-destruct, or they're gonna just go on. They're ordered to terminate, and then while this is everything that's going on, there's still incursions going on, as you can see there. So Thanos is on Earth. There's still incursions going on. There's still a galactic war that they're fighting. So the rest of the Infinity event, as from that point, is basically the Avengers finishing the war, the galactic war, and they have to come back to Earth, and they find out that basically Thanos is there at Earth, and they have to stop him. So from here on, like, they're going back towards Earth, and they have to fight their own defense systems that were taken over by Thanos' forces, and they finally get down here. They all fight, which is great. I really enjoyed that. The fights on here with the Obsidian group, they're able to fight them and kill them. And then Thanos is basically whooping butt for everybody. And they find Thanos' son, is this guy named Thane, and he has like the power of his one hand can like kill people, and the other one has an even better power, which is basically a living death, and it encloses, as you see there, it basically encloses Thanos and the glaive, or Proxima Midnight in this like amber that's a living death. So really crazy powers, and then he goes away with the Ebony Maw. They leave, so they disappear, and it kind of tells you on there that basically he's gonna be worse than his dad, kind of. So that's definitely gonna play later on. And then after that is the whole situation that happened with Wakanda. And then there's the rest of the little stories. This is, I think, the Silver Surfer Infinity, which kind of tells the story of what happens, with these guys taking over other planets. So it's a little backstory, not really part of the Infinity event, but an extra feature. So that's really cool. But yeah, that's where it kind of ends after they defeat Thanos. But the story continues after that. And if you know where it goes to, I'm actually pretty excited for it. Like I said, I finished that. I'm actually reading. I'm a couple chapters after this, and I'm excited for it. It's a really cool event. Jonathan Hickman does a great job of connecting all these stories of the New Avengers, the Avengers, and the Infinity event that happened into a really, really great story. I enjoyed it. I always see the positive, and I thought it was a great storytelling on cosmic levels. There's some parts that I'm just like, you have to remember what's going on beforehand or what happened beforehand with these characters. But you kind of figure it out pretty quickly, and the story proceeds very well. I enjoyed it. And like I said, it's definitely Avengers on a grander scale, a more intergalactic scale, and I'm here for it. That's some of the stuff I like. It's just that aspect of Marvel Universe beyond Earth, and you get to see that. And you get to introduce some really cool characters like Captain Universe and, the Star Brand and Hyperion, who are going to play large roles in that. So that's really cool. I really enjoyed it. So definitely, if you're an Avengers fan, I actually like the Avengers just because it's an ensemble cast. Sometimes it's... if you want character development, you definitely get the Omni for the individual characters. But the group ones are always fun. I like the Justice League when it's all of the group together. I like the Avengers when it's all of the group together. And I enjoyed it. It's a pretty fun story so far. And I can't wait for the second Omni that's going to come out pretty soon. So there you go, guys. That's a little bit of The Avengers by Jonathan Hickman. Get your copy at Organic Price Books. You won't be disappointed. And I will see you in the next one.